Morning.
Good morning.
Why are you up so early?
Picking strawberries. Want to pick them before it gets hot.
Okay, it's cold. I have a jacket on.
It's cold when you're not working.
It's in the 50s.
What are you doing up so early?
Thought it'd be a good morning to get a morning garden tour.
It is a beautiful morning.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you around. Isn't it beautiful? To a gardener, this is beautiful. This is what makes the garden grow. Now this is partially decomposed compost. We finished emptying the completely decomposed pile into the garden. Now this is the second most decomposed pile. And we have a system where we usually have 4 piles, with the most raw pile being on the far end. And this one on the right side is always the most ready to use compost. But the compost is what makes the garden grow, so it is beautiful.
We have an advantage here at the farm, don't we? What
Yeah, we
makes
do.
the compost really go.
Well, we have chickens and we have cows.
Yeah.
So their products, byproducts, help the garden grow. Plus we have tons of other resources we can put in, you know?
Yeah,
So great compost.
absolutely. So why are they covered right now?
We don't want all the nutrients to leak out. We want it to get wet a certain amount, but not all the time. We've had a lot of rain, so
That's
just
right.
keep them covered a little bit.
What I hate to see is if you don't have it on and you get a heavy rain, and then you get these big puddles out front here.
And you know those puddles are full of nutrition.
Yep.
For the garden.
Compost tea.
Yeah, it is. It is. So,
Yeah.
which I need to make some of that.
Hey, what are these interesting flowers? The blue
Behind there,
ones?
blue, those are actually larkspur. And I can have them outside the fence. It's a good thing outside the fence because they're actually toxic to animals. Well, I think they're toxic to us too. So nothing eats them. But they just make the fence look prettier, you know?
All right. So you don't let the grandchildren play there, huh?
No. Well, they know. Well, and they can't play in most of the compost piles. They can play in the one that's almost finished when they're looking for worms. But the other piles, they don't go near because they're too raw.
All right. Let's see what you got going inside.
Not for the fun part.
You know, on the way into the garden, I've always had people asking me why you have an outhouse right before your garden.
Well, actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have an outhouse by the garden. But this isn't an outhouse. It's my tool shed.
Ah.
Somebody made it to look like an outhouse. Made it very creative and pretty.
Of course, you have it all organized right now for the tour, don't you?
It's a very messy garden shed. And look, there's even a bird nest. On the shelf up there, there's a bird nest.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's quaint.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of long shadows this morning because it's early.
It's always like that in the morning. I love mornings.
Yeah.
It's a time to work. So on the way in the garden, these don't look as good as they did a week ago. These are actually native honeysuckle. And I plant them, number one, because they're native. They camouflage the not so lovely fence. And hummingbirds love these. So when the blossoms are going, I'll put pictures of it, what it looks like when the blossoms are full-fledged. It's like it put out its first flush of blossoms. Now it's kind of in a quiet zone and it'll start blossoming more. Like here's some that are about ready to come open in a week or two. So there's a bunch more blossoms coming.
Cool.
But they're pretty. They don't smell like the white invasive honeysuckle, but the hummingbirds like them, so I like them. So welcome to our market garden. I do most of the gardening. He does the orchard.
Yeah.
So, first thing on the right here is my asparagus, which I'm letting go to frond now. We picked off of it for about 6 weeks, and then I think they say it's best to just let it go fallow and let it go to frond and kind of put energy back into the plants for next year. But we got quite a bit of asparagus off this year.
Now, you have a couple kind in here, don't you? Martha
Washington, I have one row of purple. And you can see the purple didn't do as well. There's not as many of those that live, but there's some down through there.
Okay.
I might put more purple in somewhere because they're really cute and they taste great. So, yeah, but in about a couple weeks, this will turn into a jungle, just a mass of fronds. They get up to about this tall. So, I have these strings to try to keep them contained so I can still walk between the rows to weed, but it usually ends up being a jungle anyway.
Okay.
But I try.
So you'll pull the string over these then?
Yeah, as they get tall enough, I'll kind of direct them in toward the string.
Okay.
So they're kind of contained. And they will get tall enough to go in there.
So you let them go all the rest of the year so they can restore strength?
Yep, and I won't cut them down then until next spring, early, like February, March. I'll be cutting them all back to the ground. But it's good just to let them there. They feed back into the plant, get it strong for next year's asparagus crop. So that's exciting.
We have a clear blue sky today, don't we?
Yeah, we do. It's beautiful. You still see the moon over there.
Wow.
And see, there's more honeysuckle on the other side too. And there's some that's blooming a little more.
Honeysuckle there have a lot more on this side.
We'll see if we see any hummingbirds.
Yeah. Okay.
But I like my asparagus patch.
And how come you have these big green things at the end? What are these?
I like my garden functional and pretty. These are actually daylilies, the big orange kind.
Okay.
And just at the end of summer, they're just so pretty to see all the flowers through the garden.
Yeah.
And it just kind of accents the end of each row. Now down here, this is actually, I think it's called false baptistia or false something. False indigo. Baptistia, I think, is the whatever name. But aren't they pretty?
Oh, right there. I was looking ahead to the next
No, these guys. I grew them from seed a couple years ago.
What are they?
Baptistia or false indigo.
Okay.
They're a native. But they're just a really pretty plant. And they come back every year. And they do actually, if they drop seeds, I have found other ones around here that I moved to other places then.
What's that growing underneath there?
That's dill that just kind of came up. I didn't plant that there.
Oh.
So some dill seeds must have blown in there from somewhere.
Okay.
I have dill a lot of places.
And then here's your fancy bell, your hummingbird bell.
Oh, it's kind of hidden by the, there.
Yeah.
I like wind chimes. I need more of them in here.
Okay.
Well, and these big trellises, which were actually part of our corn crib that was here when we moved here. We took it down and we've repurposed pretty much every part of it. But these are wonderful to trellis things up. And these are actually my shelling peas, which got off to a rough start. First, the rabbits ate them as soon as they came up, so I planted more. Then I think the roly-polies were eating them. Something was eating them. Now they're starting to take off, but it's getting so warm, I don't know if they're really gonna do well. So we might not get a lot of peas until fall.
You have a volunteer in here, don't you?
I have asparagus kind of coming up all through the garden here and there.
Okay.
I've dug some of it out and put it in the asparagus bed, but not all of it. But
And
a
then
row of
what do you
peas.
have in between here?
Between each of these trellises is rhubarb. I just moved that this year to between here because I figure it makes sense. We have our irrigation line running the whole way down the row, and it would water the stuff at the trellis, but all this in between was wasted, so I put a rhubarb between each trellis. Now the rhubarb will get irrigated.
Okay.
So we are going to have a lot of rhubarb next year. I'm not picking it this year since I just transplanted it. And I have sunflowers coming up all over the place. There's a sunflower down there at the end that just kind of,
Yeah.
the birds must have planted that. But I'll let it grow because it's going to be pretty.
Okay. Can I sneak ahead? What's
Yes,
this
you
through
can.
here?
That actually is chamomile. Chamomile goes crazy. It reseeds everywhere. And I haven't planted peas at this one yet, so I figured I'd let the chamomile grow. I didn't get around to picking it, so I didn't get any chamomile off of it, but I have some other places too. But it just smells amazing. And I pick it a little bit at a time and give it to the chickens. They love to eat chamomile. So that'll start getting pulled out here eventually.
Your chickens have a very wide variety.
My first pea.
Oh.
I am gonna get some peas. We might get one meal.
No, they're going to go. You have another week of not too hot here.
Yeah, I think I'll get some peas. They might not, they're not gonna be a bumper crop, but I'll get some peas. But then next are some of our strawberries. These are the two most healthy rows. They are just, I don't know what it is about these rows. They're doing better than the other ones.
So
Like,
did
look-
you pick?
Like, look at this
here?
baby. Look,
Oh, yeah.
want a nice strawberry?
Oh, sure.
You can have it, it's yours.
Okay.
But this side I have covered with netting that we just lay on the berries. It's held up a little bit by these wires, but you got to keep the birds from eating them.
Like you can still see it sitting over here.
Yep. I have this one uncovered because I was getting ready to pick it. But the birds will peck away at your little red strawberries.
Yeah. Ooh, I can see some strawberries
Oh, yeah.
right through there.
Yep. This row, it's hard to see them because they're so full. But between the birds and then slugs love to eat our strawberries. So those are the two I'm battling right now.
Where are your picker helpers?
They go to school.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they can't help during the week right now, but they will be helping next week because their last day of school is Friday.
Okay.
So I think my daughter will be helping later today. But
Okay.
I'll get started on it.
Your girls are in school.
Yeah, but the two girls, they love picking strawberries, red raspberries, black raspberries, and blackberries, and peas, and sugar pea. They love picking all kinds of stuff. So they're definitely my harvest help. They don't like weeding as much. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But they do love to harvest.
So what do you have at the end of the strawberries here? They look different.
Those are actually sage. And aren't they amazing? They're enormous. Number one, they're supposed to keep some pests away, the scent of sage. A lot of pests don't like it. But number two, the blossoms, you let them go to flower, the bees love them. In the heat of the day, you cannot brush by here because you will get stung. Now, those are the bumblebees. They're out early. But usually it is loaded with our honeybees. So, but they look really pretty. But yeah, my helpers aren't crazy about bees, so they stay away from that stuff. But there's 2 rows of strawberries, 2 double rows over here. And then this lovely row, what did you say they look like?
Yeah, these look like weeds, like you didn't get around to weeding this row.
These are
yet.
actually flowers, they're status. They're a flower you grow and you can either sell them fresh or dry them and use them. So there's status down to a certain point and then snapdragon. So I haven't put netting up here yet. I have to put the netting up to hold the snapdragons up because snapdragons tend to fall over when they get big. So they're all doing really nicely.
Oh, the snapdragons are your flowers down there.
Yeah, this is a whole row of flowers. I sell a lot of fresh flowers at the farm stand. And snapdragons are just beautiful. They're an old-fashioned flower. They're just beautiful. And the kids like playing with them. You know, how you squeeze them, it makes it look like the dragon's mouth is opening.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, you do have a weed down at the end of there.
Where? Oh.
The end of that row.
It's a weed, but it's a welcome weed.
Yeah, you don't pull those, do
Now,
you?
I raise monarch butterflies, and this is milkweed. They need this to survive. So in the summer then, late summer, I'll be in here looking for butterfly eggs. But it will spread, and it's going to get out of control, but I just can't bring myself to get rid of it. The monarchs need it, so it has to stay. And down here, along with the milkweed, are Shasta daisies on this end, which are about ready to open.
Yeah,
So,
now those milkweed, they grow a big root system under, and they're hard to get out.
They will spread.
They will mess up your garden.
They'll mess up this section of the garden.
Okay, your call.
We'll see what happens. But then next to the flowers are my garlic that I planted last fall. And they're doing amazing. And they're actually, look, they're just shooting off scapes. Garlics actually shoot off, it's called a scape. I guess it's like their little flower seed bud. And you don't want to let that grow. The
Well, how
bulbs,
can you tell where the skate starts?
right down here. It usually comes at the top of all the leaves. And see, here's another one. They're all shooting off their scapes. And you can do all kinds of things with that. You cook them just like you do garlic. You can use them in dishes and stuff. I made a garlic scape pesto one year. We didn't like that as much. But when they get to a certain size, I'll cut those out. And then eventually the garlic will all kind of die back. And it'll be time to pick garlic.
And then they're huge down there.
Yeah, yeah, there's probably some good bulbs coming under there. We love garlic.
Well, yesterday I did chop and drop on all your comfrey, but it looks like I missed one, doesn't it?
Actually, 2. There's one on each end.
Ah.
And those of you who don't know what Comfrey is, it's great for if you're a permaculture gardener. It's considered a dynamic accumulator. Talk about milkweed having doozy roots. This has like a 3-foot taproot. So once it's planted there, it's probably gonna be there forever. But it does go so low, it can pull up nutrients that most plants can't get to. They don't go that deep. So you do what's called chop and drop. You just chop the whole plant off, and you can either chop it up and put it around stuff or just lay it there and let it decompose. And then all the nutrients that are in all these beautiful leaves and stuff go down and feed your plants. And it will actually grow back.
Dynamic accumulator.
Yes, but it will grow back within a week or 2. Like here, see there's already new leaves coming up in the middle. So we'll take off these big honking stems.
Yeah.
And a new plant will come up. We can chop and drop usually 2, sometimes 3 times this summer.
Okay.
They grow, I guess because of the taprooter, they grow incredibly fast.
So you're starting a new walkway in there? What's this?
Yeah. This is actually part of our weed control. If the weeds are out of control, you lay this on here for a week. It's only been on there for like a day or 2. And the weeds all die. It saves me having to weed the pathways. Or if I have a row of crop that I want to kill off for the next crop, lay that on for a week, it's gone.
Cool.
So it saves me a lot of weeding. Now see, I need to shift it over this way. It'll kill all those weeds. And then this will be where I'm going to plant sweet potatoes. They aren't in yet, but I'm going to experiment. I'm going to try to vine sweet potatoes up these trellises. They're always like sprawling everywhere and take up so much room. I'm going to see if I can trellis them. That's going to be interesting. But they're just about ready to come out. Not quite yet though.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, but that's like the first quarter of the garden. The garden's divided into 4 parts, and that was the first quarter.
Not counting the orchard.
Not counting the orchard. The orchard's a whole separate ball of wax. So we're back to the front of the garden. Asparagus is on that side. This is the other side. And the first whole row is my plant hospital or nursery. I have a lot of little baby trees that we've either bought as little tiny seedlings or we have found over the property or gotten other places, and I'm growing them out to get big enough to where we can plant them out on the farm. And the first ones are white oak, right dear?
Correct.
Aren't they white oak?
Yep. Yeah. The ends of the leaves are rounded off. Make some white oak. If they're sharp edged, they're red oak.
And we have some of those down later, I think.
Yeah.
I forget what all we have. But after the white oak, this is actually a little Japanese red maple. And I got this from my mom's yard a couple years ago. And my mom's not here anymore, so this reminds me of my mom. But I need to get it big enough to where I can plant it out, cage it, and hopefully the deer won't touch it.
Oh, you have your irrigation line running over top of the buckets.
So they get irrigated, but that still doesn't give them very much. Once in a while, if it's been pretty warm, I give them each a quick shot with the hose too, because the buckets don't hold a lot of water.
Mm-hmm. Plus they get the natural rain.
Yeah. Now is this a red oak? A very not healthy looking red oak.
Yes.
Okay. And this one too. I have a couple white oak and more red oak.
Yeah.
But they don't look as healthy. Yeah, I had a hard winter. Some of them got eaten off by rabbits. Somehow I had them with leaves piled up around to keep them warm, but I didn't think about protecting them from rabbits. And somehow the rabbits got in here and ate some little trees right off. So I lost some. But then we have a bunch of white pine, right? Didn't we get them from some organization?
From the conservation.
And they were just like little sticks. So we planted them, we're letting them get big enough, then we'll plant them out in the farm. But they're doing well. Lots of them.
Okay.
The other
got
side
some big plants down here.
are a bunch of herbs. Down here I have my parsley. Oh, and some stray gladiolas. There's gladiolas in my parsley. And a bunch of weeds. I need to weed my parsley big time.
It's parsley. Huh?
Mm-hmm. And some calendula that I did plant, but I did not plant the thistles.
Oh.
Or this sweetgrass.
Thistle. That's the.
That is one of my nightmare weeds. But need gloves, you just pull, pull, pull. But next, that's my thyme. My thyme already went to seed or to flower. Those are violas or Johnny jump ups. And I never planted them either. Last year I started this thyme from seed, and there must have been Johnny jump up seeds in the thyme seeds. They weren't seeds I saved, I bought them, I forget from where. But Johnny jump up came up with the thyme. So now I have Johnny jump up everywhere. Yeah. This is the thyme. Smell it. Oh yeah, it smells good. Then these are the Johnny jump ups. I mean, they're beautiful, but I didn't plant them. So, thyme and Johnny jump up mixed. But then next to that I have 3 bags of lemon balm. This is all lemon balm, which I need to pick and dry. Lemony. That smells good.
So what do you do with lemon balm?
You can do all kinds. You can make teas with it. You can make some tinctures. It's supposed to be a calming herb to help relax you. I don't know. I had bought some, but not a whole lot, so now I want to make my own. That'll probably be a video, drying the herbs and making some teas and stuff. And
so why do you have them in containers? Do they?
They can go crazy, and I actually just saw one. It must have gone to seed last year. I saw one on the ground somewhere. They can reseed, they can go crazy. They're in the herb family. You can tell things are in the herb family if they have a square stem.
You're kidding.
No. Can you see it square?
See that, but...
It's a square stem. So that means be careful. They can go crazy. But boy, does that smell good. And behind that is something called hyssop, which I'm not sure about the medicinal values of that. I grew it because somebody said bees love it. And again, be careful. It can go crazy.
Hyssop in the Old Testament.
Oh yeah, it's in the Bible somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to taste, I think, like licorice, but I'm not a big black licorice fan, so I'm not sure what I'll do with it. But it shoots off really pretty flowers too. And on the other side of that, there's some bags of regular mint too. So this is like a whole mint area.
So this is danger.
This is danger zone, which I'll show you. I did not cut the hyssop off before it went to seed, okay, last year. And along with all the weeds in my kind of gladiola bed, that's all hyssop over there. So I probably need to pull that or plant it somewhere else that I can contain it. And this bed is just kind of like a leftover hodgepodge full of weeds. I had gladiolas last year. I was going to pull them out and do something different. I never got around to taking them out. So it's kind of like a neglected, whatever it turns out to be, bed. But
so there you go. You have one weedy bed.
Well, it's really weedy,
yeah.
But it's still kind of cute.
Yeah.
And one of my little blue larkspur, actually you must seed it in here too. So I'm gonna have one little blue larkspur. That's a larkspur right there, that blue stuff outside the fence. It just came up, so I'm gonna let it go. If things come up that I like, I let it go, and if I don't like it where it is, I'll move it somewhere else. But it's pretty. Cool. So it's part of the herbs, and then if you go further yet, I have something, they didn't come back as well, these guys right here. They're called Heal All, or Self-Heal. It's supposed to be an herb you can really use to heal wounds and stuff. There's 3 bags of it, but they didn't come back all that well. This is the best looking bag of the 3.
Okay, like there, that one's not looking so good. No, I know,
they don't look so good. So I might want to plant something else in there and just turn it to 1 bag of Heal All.
Well, there's some in here too, in your 3rd one.
Yeah, a few.
I think they're gonna bounce back.
We'll see. I think they're shaded too much by the hyssop. This is another batch of hyssop.
Okay.
They're nice and tall, and they just look pretty between the other things. And on behind the hyssop bin, I have 3 different types of oregano, which I also need to pick and dry. I'll probably freeze dry it. It smells so good. I'm hungry for pasta. But I love my herbs. And the bed on the end there is some cilantro, which is starting to bolt, and some dill that came up from last year. I guess that's where the dill came from, over by the hose. So I had dill in here last year. That's dill. Okay. And this is all cilantro. We love cilantro. I love cilantro more than him, but again, for Mexican things, when I make salsa, sometimes it's almost on the green side because it has so much cilantro in it. I don't spend every day out here smelling my garden, but sometimes I can't help it. But that's my one of my herb rows. And it's doing pretty well. Okay, there's another row of herbs. The first ones are sage, just like over by the strawberries. But these I meant to pick and freeze dry before they blossomed, but I didn't have time.
Flowers from the sage?
Yep, that's the same as the ones over by the strawberries that get loaded with bees. Those over there are just, they're ahead of these guys. These guys were smaller.
Okay.
And then I have rosemary that didn't come back great, but it is back and it's growing. So I'm hoping to do some propagation by taking some of the ends off and starting some new plants. I like rosemary too. And then this, I don't know what this is. If somebody can tell me, let me know. It's something I planted last year. It does have a square stem, but I don't know what it is. Like, I did a whole bunch of new herbs last year, and this one I don't remember what it is. But it's healthy, whatever it is. So I got to figure it out and figure out what to do with it. And this is marshmallow, which you can use for different health benefit things. I'm just now getting into herbal medicines. So I probably need to do a lot of herb picking and freeze drying and do something with it. It's soft and velvety and wonderful.
Marshmallow.
Yep.
The cousin of marshmallow?
Well, it might be where marshmallows came from. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. But this monster is valerian. You know, you use valerian root for sleep medicines. But look at these flowers. Are they beautiful or what? And the bees do like them. They're supposed to smell like vanilla. I don't smell vanilla in that, but they are pretty. I used some in a flower arrangement the other day, and they're just pretty. And when you come past the monster, I have some hibiscus that came back from last year. I didn't know if it would, because we're in zone, well, it used to be 6B, now it's 7A. And sometimes they're not cold hardy enough, but they came back. So I'm gonna have some hibiscus blooms.
Wow.
And one little columbine that kind of came up wild. So, but I like columbine, so he stays wherever he grows.
You know, this has a Brenda feel. You like things kind of a little
Messy.
wild, messy, a beautiful mess.
Yeah. Usually there's so many flowers the weeds can't really grow.
Yeah. Well, I know that's the criteria you use around the house.
What?
You have so many flowers, the weeds don't have a chance.
I'll have to show you the gardens around my house someday. Because, I mean, we have all the market garden, but I garden around the house, too, with a lot of flowers, and I have fun. And they are very full on the messy side.
Style.
Yeah.
It's a
full
beautiful
and messy.
mess. Yeah.
So.
It's kind of like you'd see them probably in the natural. They're not all spaced perfectly, whatever.
No.
You know, there's just a bunch of them.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
interesting.
Well, this area has really taken off in the last few years.
I mean, this is all 2 years old.
Yeah.
Last year was the first year I did herbs, so these have all gone to this point in 2 years.
Yeah.
But now I need to do something with them. Learn how to use them and do something with them. This next row is kind of a mess. I had spinach here all winter long, and now it's going to seed. So what I've been doing is picking it a couple plants a day and feeding it to the chickens. I can still get some leaves off of it, but the slugs kind of had some heyday with it. And then I have lettuce planted down beside that, which is why I have the shade cloth on, to try to keep the lettuce from getting too bitter in this heat. So, but I need to get the spinach out so the shade cloth actually fits. But
It's beautiful looking lettuce.
we will have some salad greens. Yeah, but the slugs did eat a couple of these. Somewhere I saw some slug damage. Here, you see little holes.
Yeah.
When you're organic, it's hard. You don't get pretty vegetables, but it's much better for you.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's 2 rows of herbs, the greens, and then it's 4 rows of strawberries, 4 double rows of strawberries. And this side, you can see I got creative with my netting. My helpers like being able to stand up when I walk through the strawberry bed, so I got creative. We had the T-posts here. I just attached some bamboo to it, some tennis balls at the top, and hung a bunch of nets, strung them together. And so far, so good. No birds have gotten in. So it's working. We'll see if it holds up through the storms.
Yeah. I see some nice strawberries in there.
They need picked. Who's going to help me? I think Ann will be over later to help.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm watching the grandbabies later this morning. They could help. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh boy. Probably not too many of them would make it to the bowl.
No, I don't think any of them would. Yeah. All right. So after the 4 double rows of strawberries, I have a tiny little row of carrots and beets, and then a whole trellis full of sugar peas. Yeah, we don't grow that many carrots. We grew too many last year. We still have some in the root cellar. But I do love my beets.
Which they stored over the winter beautiful.
Yes, they're still great. We stored them in damp sand in the root cellar, and they're just like as fresh and crisp as ever.
Yeah.
So I need to start making some more carrot recipes. But then I have sugar peas that are going to vine up that side of the trellis. I got to plant something on this side yet. I haven't figured out what to put over here. Might just wind up being flowers. And yes, an asparagus plant.
So you don't pull them out?
I should. Here's another one. Well, I dig them out and I put them in the asparagus bed.
Ah, okay.
So, but there's sunflowers that just came up. I didn't have sunflowers anywhere around here. So some bird dropped a sunflower seed or something. And little asparagus. And sunflower. And then my round zucchini. If you've never had the round ones, they're so nice to cook with. You pick them, they're called 8-ball. You pick them when they're that big, and you can cut the top off, take the insides out, the seeds. There's all kinds of things you can stuff them with, bake them, and they are delicious. I mean,
what's the other name that the British folks?
I forget. I'll have to look it up and tell you. I'll put it on the title. But I had them covered, as you can see, to keep the squash bugs off. But as soon as they start blossoming, I have to take the cover off so the bees can get in. So, like, there's the first little round one. Now, if it got pollinated, it'll keep growing. If it didn't get pollinated, it'll just fall off. But these are all my round zucchini. They're just cute too.
Yeah.
But they really taste good.
I love the how you stuff them and prepare them. They are good.
There's a bunch of different options.
It's probably my favorite of all the squashes.
Yeah, he's not a real big squash fan.
No,
but I'm turning you into one.
Really good. Yeah.
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 Well, and this end is a mess. This was an experiment. I was trying to grow lettuce in landscape fabric because keep the weeds down. I'm not a big landscape fabric person, but I thought I'd give it a try. So I tried a whole row. Well, this is all that lived.
Okay.
And I'm now pulling it out and giving it to the chickens, a couple plants a day. So every day they get some spinach, some lettuce, and I'll show you the broccoli in a minute.
So you do experiment quite a bit, don't you?
I do. And some work and some, I'd say this was a failure.
Yeah, but you can't get brokenhearted when things don't work if you're gonna...
No, you just have to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daylilies are getting a little bit big here.
Yeah.
The last row on this quarter of the garden are my cabbage and cauliflower. And yes, I have it covered to try to keep the cabbage moth off. And it works. Now I see a few little bites. I think that's slug stuff. But cabbage doesn't need to be pollinated. So I put this netting on as soon as I plant it, and it stays on until I pick
Let me get
it.
one in your shadow.
Let's see. They're just now starting to put their heads on.
Yeah.
And form heads. Ooh, here's one that has a nice head. Look at this. It's getting hard and firm. So I mean, in a couple of weeks we'll have a nice big head of lettuce there, or cabbage.
Cool. They are beautiful.
Now only 2 red cabbage lived, and then down there's cauliflower.
Now red cabbage, that looks like blue or green or
They're
something.
beautiful. They're beautiful. I mean, they taste really good. I like them in Thai slaws. And a couple weeds in there. But I do have it heavily mulched with grass leaf combination to try to keep some of the weeds down. So, you know, a couple weeks, I'll take it off, weed one time, cut some of the bottom leaves off, and just let it grow. But that's really kind of like a no maintenance row. So we did the first half of the garden. And when I say it's split into 4 parts, we have a main path that runs down through the whole middle of the garden, splits it in half.
Okay, here's the main, it goes all the way down and ends past through the orchard.
Way down at the end of the orchard.
Yeah.
So you can take the big tractor the whole way through the garden to bring in wood chips, compost, whatever you need, and take weeds out. But then there's a side path that goes this way, halfway through. So it splits it into 4 quadrants.
And that allows you to get your cart and even the tractor in
My
here.
golf cart goes right down here. All kinds of stuff, yeah. But it also, for irrigation purposes, we have it split into 4 parts because it's too much to irrigate at one time. So there's 4 sections that I irrigate individually. So it works out well. But this is the 3rd section. And yes, there's an asparagus. And I'm not going to be able to dig that out because it is in with the iris. So I'll just have an asparagus growing in my iris.
So what do you have growing here?
That first row is daisies, actually.
Oh, okay.
And at the end there are zucchini, my regular green zucchini and my yellow squash. So part pretty, part functional. And I do use the daisies in my flower arrangements at the farm stand.
Okay.
I see a rabbit. There is a rabbit in my garden. He's not supposed to be in my garden. Bad bunny rabbit. Now the next row is some sunflower or snapdragons, and I tried to get some decorative wheat growing from my flower arrangements, but it didn't really take off, so it's not doing so well.
So this is the wheat?
Yeah, and it shoots off pretty little wheat heads that you can put in flower arrangements, but I need to replant some more. It didn't take off very well. And that end is all weeds. I haven't done anything to that end, but most of the weeds are lamb quarters. Lamb's quarters, and chickens love them. So I'm waiting to weed that until I need to get in there to plant something, and then I'll just give all that to the chickens. So right there is free chicken food, weeds. The next section, I think, is going to be another failure. I love cantaloupe, and I've tried to get cantaloupe growing. The first year we got it. We got great cantaloupe. I don't know what we did. Second year, it just all shriveled up and died for some reason. I think the bugs ate it. Last year, it got some virus and died. This year, I thought, okay, I'm going to do it right. Have irrigation, landscape fabric so it can vine out. Won't have to worry about weeds. All set up. Beautiful plants. Put them in. First, I think some rabbits ate some. Then there was roly-polies eating them. So I have DE. You can see I have diatomaceous earth all around here. Now the cucumber beetles are eating them. So last night I sprayed them with some neem oil. But they're off to a rough start. I'm not sure if I'm going to get cantaloupe or not. And I did plant that sunflower there. I like sunflowers. It grew up somewhere weird, so I just stuck it in here to make it look pretty. But I want cantaloupe. We might have to go to the farmer's market to buy cantaloupe. I don't know.
So you've rotated where you've done your your cantaloupe.
This row was sweet potatoes last year where the cantaloupe is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I'm not a landscape fabric fan, but for things that vine out like that, once they send their vines out, you can't really step in there to weed, so the weeds just grow up like crazy. So this is my attempt at growing cantaloupe without having too many weeds. But I might not have cantaloupe either. We'll see. Now this was my beautiful row of broccoli, which is pretty much all picked and all done. So now I'm picking like 4 or 5 of them a day, just chopping them off. And I'll throw that in the chicken coop, and the chickens will have a blast eating all that. And again, there's thistles that I have to pull, but the lamb's quarters, I'm letting them grow, the weeds, and when I'm ready to use this bed again, I'll pick them all, feed them to the chickens. So weeds can really serve a purpose, although thistles, I don't think they serve any purpose. They're just a pain.
So this is not a show garden. This is a garden that's functional for our family, and when we sell.
And our animals.
And our animals, and we also have, where we sell our vegetables.
Yeah,
so,
the farm stand.
Yeah, a few weeds here and there, and you keep some plants in, even if they're not beautiful looking at the moment, they serve a purpose.
They do, they do. Now I don't want the lamb's quarter to go to seed. I will pick it before that, but it doesn't hurt anything. And then I just have a row of zinnias for the flowers, and then a row of yarrow that comes back every year, and they're beautiful.
Now I like what you did. I give you a lot of credit here with these zinnias.
Well, I've never done that before, that netting. Zinnias have a tendency, like snapdragons, they'll fall over. So that netting, I'm going to keep raising it as they get taller, and it should keep them from falling over into the aisles and getting yucky.
And I like the way you were very resourceful in using those poles that are usually used for marking the driveway for when I snowplow.
Not going to use them right now, are you?
No.
But zinnias, you don't want them to fall over, because when they fall over, the flower just starts growing at the end of the stem crooked, so then you can't use that whole stem.
Okay.
So I want to keep them growing straight up. And there's a dill plant down there, 2, 3. Once you plant dill anywhere in your garden, you will have dill forever.
You know, your garden has a sense, it's really, market gardens, feeling very mature.
It is. Well, stuff's really growing up.
Yeah. Well, and you, now this is our 5th year, you're getting a real sense for how to control and manage weeds,
some things.
and how to manage most of the pests and things.
Yeah, weeds are easy compared to the bugs, but it's getting there. And I just love having all the flowers. Like on that end I have iris on the end of the rows, and down there I have iris and false sunflower, the big tall yellow things. So I like having flowers at the end of the rows. It does attract pollinators, but I do it mainly because it looks pretty. This is the last quarter of the garden. First row along the main aisle is snapdragons. And down on that end I have my beans. And yes, a sunflower. And so far nothing's eating the beans. So far. But I keep a close eye on them because all kinds of things like to eat them. And what's under this big mesh thing here are my potatoes. I have 3 different kinds of potatoes. And this mesh is on to protect it against the potato beetles, because they're nasty. And this seems to keep them off. But again,
don't they have to be pollinated?
No, potatoes do not need pollinated. They do put off flowers, but they do not need pollinated.
That threw me for a loop because I can see the flowers in
no, they don't. So I put the netting on when I plant them, well, as soon as the potatoes come up, and then I keep it on until we pick them. And it works. Last year we did not have a great potato crop, so hopefully this year will be better.
Yeah.
Now behind the potatoes is another kind of failure.
Oh, well, it's being blocked. Let's reposition here.
Yep, I'll show you the failure. Okay, this is my blueberry patch. Lovely, huh? If you watched my video last year, I was giving my blueberries an all-out effort, and they just aren't thriving. I cannot get this soil acidic enough, so I might give these one more chance, dig them out, and put them in containers. It's supposedly a lot easier to get containers acidic enough to grow blueberries. So I have 1, 2, 3, I think 4 or 5 of them that are still alive that I'm going to try. And I thought I'd be clever and plant onions all down the sides of the blueberries, which they're growing. See, beautiful onions. But the weeds are taking over, so I need to spend a lot of time weeding, just pulling the weeds out delicately from around the onions. Now, I am experimenting.
You know, I thought you were going to get those going. I was encouraging you on those
right,
blueberries.
You were making fun of me with my blueberries. See, there are some blueberries. There's a few.
Yeah,
you know, if the birds don't get them. This is the healthiest bush of all.
Yeah.
So I think I probably will be putting them in containers and just giving it a try. If they don't make it, I tried. Now, at the very end, I do have an experiment that I think is going to take care of the blueberry problem.
Okay.
This part of my blueberry patch is a mess, but for a reason. I had calendula in here last year and it self-seeded, so they're coming up, and I'm slowly taking them out and moving them to where I want them. in different, like around the chicken coop, different places I want calendula. So when I get all the calendula out, then I'll get rid of all the weeds in here. And I have a plan for this bed once everything's out. Thus, the blueberry replacement. These bushes are honeyberries. They're supposed to taste like blueberries. I'll find one that's ripe on the other bushes. I think the birds
What's the
probably got
name?
them
Do you
up here.
remember the other name that I heard?
Hascap.
What is it?
Hascaps.
Hascap?
Yep, hascaps. But like here's a honeyberry that's developing. It's not blue yet. They get really, really dark blue and they taste like blueberries, but they're elongated.
Oh, there.
And they're easy to grow. So I'm hoping they take the place of blueberries. If they do, I actually tried to propagate some of these. I have them back by the tunnel. See if we can get some more. These are the original bushes we bought.
Oh, so these are the same.
Yep.
Okay.
Now let me see if I can find any berries. I think the birds probably got them. I should have netted them. Birds
But they're
are
just
sneaky.
in a growth stage. You're not really harvesting.
No, but we had got to try a couple berries last week just to see if we like them, and they are good.
Yeah.
You said if you had your eyes closed, you'd think they're blueberries. So I hope to have a whole honeyberry row.
Okay.
That'll be my blueberries. And then if you saw the huge monster things down the road next to the blueberries, that's my elderberry patch. This row's a success. This is my elderberry row. And I mean, look, the blossoms are just coming on. Now, I've never used the flowers for anything, but apparently you can make tea and different medicinal things using the flowers. But I let them go to berry and then make elderberry syrup or elderberry tincture. But aren't they just beautiful?
Yeah.
I love my elderberries.
And
you
grew these from how many?
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bushes, and then I propagated the rest. I don't know how many, probably another 12, 15. So I have a whole row of elderberries. We're gonna have a lot of elderberries this year.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Oh, they're stunning. And I put a bunch in the chicken yard too. So then when the elderberries fall off, chickens will get them.
Okay.
Then we're into the bramble area of the garden. These are the blackberries, and they are loaded.
Yeah.
We are gonna have a lot of blackberries.
Well, you did an amazing job with the pruning.
Well,
You
I had to really
got
learn.
good.
Watch a million YouTube videos and experiment.
Yeah.
I think I finally have the pruning down.
Uh-huh.
And I have my bird control up, hopefully. Things supposedly keep the shiny moving things, help keep birds away.
Yeah.
Because we netted them the first 2 years, but so many times you pull the netting off, you pull berries. I don't want to be pulling berries off. Oh, there's one of your bees, two of your
There's
bees.
a couple of our honeybees.
They're doing their job. Good. Pollinate those babies so we get some blackberries.
Yeah.
Good girls.
They are honeybees, too.
Mm-hmm. They're doing their job. And I actually, a couple of blackberries came up, you know, from the ground from other ones, so I have a couple little ones started too. As new ones come up, I'll just keep planting them down here.
Okay.
And we'll get more.
Finish the gap.
Yep. And then we have our black raspberries, and they too are filled with black. I mean, look at all the black raspberries. Our daughter loves these. The kids don't like picking these as much because they have thorns. The girls will pick the outside ones, and then my daughter will reach in and get the ones on the inside. But I lost one whole plant almost.
Huh.
It's mostly dead. One little section's alive. No, that's from the other one. The whole plant's dead. I need to dig him out. Don't know what happened there. But they're coming along nicely.
But they shoot up
Oh,
from down below. They'll shoot
yeah,
up.
all these are second year canes.
Yeah.
All these berries bloom on second year canes. So, like this is a cane that's growing this year, okay? This is
Yeah.
what'll have berries on next year.
Yeah, they have that light.
So at the end of the
Green,
season,
almost
I cut
bluish.
the ones off that have berries this year, and
Yeah.
that's next year's crop.
Okay.
But every year you have to go through and cut all these off because they won't produce anymore.
Yeah.
And the
But
last,
the way you described it to me is if you get a long cane and it goes up to the wire, you cut it off so that it,
yes. Well,
it goes either direction.
well, like this one I probably cut off and it shot off about 5 or 6 different shoots.
Yeah.
So you get more that way. And we actually have 2 wires. If they're short canes, I just go ahead and put them on the bottom one. You can see the ties where I have some tied on the bottom. But you do get more berries if you clip off the tall shoots and then they sprout out and give you more.
Again, it's looking very mature in here.
These are definitely mature. And the last row of this garden is my red raspberries. And just like the other brambles, they're doing well. And there's a bee doing its job.
Yeah.
These are so good and so tender. Oh, I love red raspberries. And look,
And these are easier to pick because they do not have
these do not have thorns. They're
thorns.
very easy to pick. When the wind was blowing, my bird-proof thing was working.
Yeah.
I don't know if it helps, but it can't hurt. And we have owls, fake owls that we sit around to hopefully scare the birds away. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour of the market garden as I shared some of my successes and my failures. And if you have any advice or hints on things I can do better or experiment with, let me know. So for now, thanks, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.